equipotential bonding is indeed required for outdoor hot tubs, as specified in Section 680.26 of the National Electrical Code, or NEC. This requirement aims to minimize voltage gradients in the areas surrounding the hot tub, reducing the risk of electric shock. The purpose of equipotential bonding is to create a uniform electrical potential, or voltage, across all metallic parts and conductive surfaces within reach of a person in or near the hot tub. This is achieved by connecting these parts together with a solid conductor, typically copper. Firstly, let's understand what exactly needs to be bonded. This includes all metal parts of the hot tub structure, such as the metal frame, any metal piping connected to the hot tub, and any metal equipment associated with the hot tub, like pumps and heaters. Secondly, any metal parts within 5 feet, or 1.5 meters, horizontally of the inside walls of the hot tub must also be bonded. This includes metal fences, metal door frames, metal light fixtures, and any other exposed metal objects. Thirdly, reinforcing steel, or rebar, in a concrete slab that is within that 5 foot, or 1.5 meter, perimeter also needs to be bonded. If the hot tub is installed on or in a concrete slab, the rebar within that slab becomes part of the bonding grid. Now, how is this bonding actually accomplished? The NEC specifies that a solid copper conductor of at least number 8 American wire gauge, or AUG, must be used for bonding. This conductor is connected to each of the metallic parts mentioned earlier using bonding lugs or clamps that are suitable for the purpose. These connectors must be listed for direct burial if they are installed underground. The bonding conductor is run in a continuous loop around the hot tub, connecting to each of the metal parts and the concrete reinforcing steel, if present. This creates a bonding grid that encompasses the entire area around the hot tub. The bonding grid is then connected to the equipment grounding conductor of the hot tub's electrical circuit. This provides a path for fault current to flow back to the electrical panel in the event of an electrical fault. It's important to note the difference between bonding and grounding. Grounding provides a path for fault current, while bonding minimizes voltage differences. Both are essential for electrical safety. Grounding ensures that overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers, will trip in the event of a fault, disconnecting the power to the hot tub. Bonding ensures that a person touching 2 different metal objects in the vicinity of the hot tub will not experience a dangerous voltage difference between those objects. Section 680.26b of the NEC provides specific details on the methods and materials required for equipotential bonding. This section covers items such as the size of the bonding conductors, the type of connectors that must be used, and the location of the bonding connections. It's important to carefully review this section of the NEC to ensure that the bonding is installed correctly. Also, it's critical to use listed bonding connectors and clamps. Listed equipment has been tested and certified by a third party to meet specific safety standards. Using non-listed equipment could compromise the effectiveness of the bonding system. The NEC also requires that all electrical equipment associated with the hot tub, including pumps, heaters, and lighting, be listed for use in wet locations. This ensures that the equipment is designed to withstand the harsh conditions of an outdoor environment. The equipotential bonding grid should be installed before the hot tub is filled with water. This allows for easy access to all of the metal parts and conductive surfaces that need to be bonded. Once the hot tub is filled, it can be difficult to reach some of these parts. After the bonding grid is installed, it should be tested to ensure that it is functioning properly. This can be done using a low resistance ohmmeter to measure the resistance between different points on the bonding grid. The resistance should be very low, typically less than 1 ohm. If the resistance is higher than expected, it indicates a poor connection or a break in the bonding conductor. It's important to identify and correct any problems before the hot tub is used. One common mistake that is made when installing equipotential bonding is failing to bond all of the metal parts within the required distance of the hot tub. It's important to carefully inspect the area around a hot tub and identify all metal objects that could potentially become energized. Another common mistake is using undersized bonding conductors. The NEC requires a minimum number 8 AWG copper conductor for bonding. Using a smaller conductor could compromise the effectiveness of the bonding system. It's also important to use the correct type of connectors for bonding. The connectors must be listed for direct burial if they are installed underground. Using non-listed connectors could lead to corrosion and failure of the bonding system. Another important consideration is the type of soil in the area where the hot tub is installed. If the soil is highly corrosive, it may be necessary to use special corrosion-resistant bonding connectors and conductors. In some cases, it may also be necessary to install a ground rod to supplement the bonding grid. The ground rod provides an additional path for fault current to flow back to the electrical panel. The NEC requires that the ground rod be at least 8 feet or 2.4 meters long and be driven into the ground until at least 8 feet or 2.4 meters of its length is in contact with the soil. The ground rod must be connected to the bonding grid with a solid copper conductor of at least number 6 AWG. When installing a ground rod, it's important to avoid underground utilities such as gas lines and water pipes. Contacting these utilities could create a dangerous situation. Before driving a ground rod, it's always a good idea to call the local utility company to locate any underground utilities in the area. Another important safety precaution is to disconnect the power to the hot tub before working on the electrical system. This will prevent the risk of electric shock. Before disconnecting the power, it's a good idea to test the voltage of the hot tub's electrical disconnect switch to ensure that the power is actually off. This can be done using a voltmeter. The voltmeter should read 0 volts when the disconnect switch is in the off position. Also, always consult with a qualified electrician when installing or working on the electrical system of a hot tub. A qualified electrician has the knowledge and experience to safely and correctly install the bonding and grounding systems. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it's always best to leave it to the professionals. In addition to the NEC requirements, there may also be local electrical codes that apply to hot tub installations. It's important to check with the local building department to determine what codes are in effect in your area. The local codes may be more stringent than the NEC requirements. For example, some local codes may require that all metal parts within 10 feet or 3 meters of the hot tub be bonded. In addition to the bonding requirements, the NEC also specifies requirements for ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI protection for hot tubs. All 120 volts receptacles within 20 feet or 6 meters of the hot tub must be GFCI protected. This includes receptacles that are used to power the hot tub and any other receptacles that are located in the area. GFCI protection is designed to protect people from electric shock by detecting small amounts of current leakage and tripping the circuit breaker. GFCI protection is an important safety feature that can prevent serious injury or death. The NEC also specifies requirements for the location of the hot tub's electrical disconnect switch. The disconnect switch must be located within sight of the hot tub and must be readily accessible. This allows someone to quickly disconnect the power to the hot tub in the event of an emergency. The disconnect switch must be clearly labeled to indicate that it is the disconnect switch for the hot tub. The NEC also provides guidelines for the installation of underground wiring near hot tubs. Underground wiring must be buried at a sufficient depth to protect it from damage. The NEC specifies the minimum burial depth for different types of wiring. Underground wiring must also be protected from physical damage by being installed in conduit or other approved raceway. In addition to the electrical requirements, there may also be plumbing requirements for hot tub installations. The plumbing requirements may specify the type of piping that must be used, the size of the pipes, and the location of the drains. It's important to check with the local building department to determine what plumbing codes are in effect in your area. Finally, it's important to remember that electrical codes are constantly being updated. The NEC is revised every 3 years, and local codes may be updated more frequently. It's important to stay up to date on the latest code requirements to ensure that your hot tub installation is safe and code compliant. Consulting with a qualified electrician is the best way to ensure that your hot tub installation meets all applicable codes. A qualified electrician can also help you to choose the right equipment and materials for your installation. By following the NEC requirements and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your outdoor hot tub is safe and enjoyable for years to come. Always remember that safety is the top priority when working with electricity. Taking the time to properly bond and ground your hot tub can prevent serious injury or death. When in doubt, consult with a qualified electrician.